Hello, everybody. My name is Miranda, and today I will be talking about farming in the desert, equitable and sustainable agriculture in arid climates. So, jumping right into my background, um, food is an essential part of all life. Everybody needs food to survive and to thrive. But arid climates, high temperatures, and drought make farming extremely challenging and can exacerbate food insecurity, which disproportionately affects low-income communities. Furthermore, desertification through climate change is projected to increase in the upcoming years, and this will add additional challenges to food production. Therefore, this study aims to address food insecurity in arid regions through the application of sustainable agriculture. So, in order to address these concerns, I asked the question, what farming practices can be applied in arid climates in order to optimize sustainability and improve food accessibility? This question was prompted by my internship with Cactus Park Elementary School, in which my role was to create an educational garden that uses permaculture techniques on a smaller scale with the goal of distributing fresh produce to low-income households in the community. And then I addressed my research question through independent research, in which I conducted interviews with local farmers in Las Vegas in order to identify what practices they utilize in order to overcome the barriers that are presented within the deserts. And then I also conducted a in-depth literature review. So moving on to my results, a lot of what I found through talking with farmers, as well as through my more independent research, was the importance of soil revitalization. Since the desert has very infertile soils that are very high in salinity, um, very compact, it's really important to revitalize your soil, which can be done through the application of permaculture techniques. As we can see in figure 1, before, the desert soil is very compact and fertile, and very, it's unable to retain any moisture. So therefore, after applying compost and cover crops, which are two really popular permaculture techniques, you can see that the soil becomes significantly more rich, has more organic material in it, which allows for greater moisture retention. And overall, this will significantly benefit your crop yields, and it'll help your crops grow because in order to have healthy plants, you need to have healthy soil. So this is a really important technique to focus on in the desert. So moving on, um, a lot of what I looked at was also the utilization of native crops versus non-native crops. As we can see here in figure 2, um, I'm presenting the difference between native crop root networks versus non-native crops. So in the southwest region of the United States, which is where a lot of our arid climates can be found, the most popular crops that are planted are winter wheat and corn, which are two super popular commodity crops. And even though these crops are planted to maximize yields, they are not native and they are super resource intensive. And since they're not native, they aren't evolved to withstand the high temperatures and drought within arid climates. So as you can see in this diagram, the winter wheat root networks, they grow downward, whereas the prickly pear cactus, for example, the roots grow outward, which allows for greater absorption of rainwater because they have evolved to withstand the uh, low precipitation patterns. And then the mesquite tree here, mesquite trees can have root networks that grow downwards up to 45, 50 feet, which allows for the trees to tap into the water tables. And this is a really great plant to have because not only are they fruit bearing, um, but you don't have to put in as much resource inputs, uh, and you don't have to focus on as much, spend as much time cultivating these crops. So the last part of my research is looking at local farmers' application of permaculture. The four most popular permaculture techniques that were described by farmers were applying compost, cover cropping, crop rotating, and intercropping. As you can see from this diagram, there are vast benefits for using these permaculture techniques. Not only can they increase crop productivity, but they also work to revitalize the soil. Um, these techniques are especially beneficial in the desert because you have such low resource availability, as well as the soils are really infertile. So these techniques can help you to revitalize the ecosystems and at this simultaneously working to increase your crop yields. So moving on to my takeaways, my four main takeaways are presented here, and I believe these are essential solutions in order to optimize sustainability and increase food accessibility in arid regions. So firstly, as I discussed, is applying permaculture techniques because of the vast ecosystem services that they provide, and also how they can help to conserve resource inputs, as well as increasing your crop yields. Secondly, native crop utilization versus non-native crops will provide vast benefits as you don't have to put in as much resources. And then additionally, you would be uplifting the local ecosystems since the surrounding ecosystems are highly evolved to utilize these native crops as well. Third is applying local and indigenous knowledge because local farmers and native groups have been on this land for generations and generations. Their knowledge is so location specific that it's so useful within farming because they have such vast knowledge about the land. I believe it's really important to also center indigenous practices such as agroforestry, which is a type of intercropping, because this can provide, once again, this can increase your crop yields, but also uplifting the local ecosystems and promoting biodiversity. So lastly, I believe in the importance of applying these three techniques on a small scale through location-based initiatives. I believe that this can improve community food sovereignty, as well as small-scale initiatives provide more tangible solutions because it's so difficult to apply permaculture on a large industrial scale. So starting at a small scale can be more tangible, and also you're uplifting the local community as well. So implications and actions. I believe the next steps with this research would be to implement these solutions starting on a small scale, on a localized level, as I mentioned, and then also increasing agricultural education that prioritizes Indigenous and local farmer perspectives. And lastly, I think it's really important to mobilize communities that support grassroots demands for permaculture in order to influence policymakers in which we could start moving these techniques, these solutions to a larger scale. And lastly, I would like to acknowledge all the people that helped me throughout this project, specifically Levi Casto and Cactus Park Elementary. It was really such an honor to work on such an amazing project with such amazing people. And I would also like to thank Perry Ackworth and Bella Bartlett for all your help throughout this project. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening.